Troy did not stand alone. Rhesus came from the north, uniting the fierce mountain tribes of Thrace, while Memnon marched through the south with his mighty army from the sun-drenched Ethiopia. They will defend the lands of Troy until their last breath.
Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia, and what you just saw is the trailer for the upcoming Total War Troy DLC, Rhesus and Memnon. Now, this DLC will focus on the two new namesake characters, each with their own playable faction and unique faction mechanics. Although there's not a lot of in-game footage I can show today, on December 7th, I'll be able to provide full overviews of the two new factions, including the two new faction mechanics for each of the playable factions, as well as a detailed look at all 49 new units that'll be joining the roster. Lastly, as part of this DLC's launch on December 14th, all Troy players will receive a free patch that will add 6 new campaign mechanics to help improve the game farther, and I will also be covering those in my videos on December 7th. So now with these announcements out of the way, let's talk about who these two new epic heroes are and how they fit into the Troy timeline. First up is Rhesus, the Threshing King, who in the Iliad comes to Troy's defense late due to attack on his lands by the Sicilians from the north, and upon his arrival, he was immediately killed in a night raid by Odysseus and Diomedes, as they had learned the location of his camp from a captured Hector spy named Dulon. And not only was Rhesus killed in the middle of the night without being able to put up a fight, his legendary golden armor, which is said to be befitting of the gods, and his steeds, which were rumored to be the finest horses of all the land, were also stolen from him. However, his humiliating death was not the end of his story in the Iliad, as legend says that he was born by the union of the river god Strymon and the muse of music, Euterpe, who, upon sensing his death, actually arrived on the scene to resurrect him and make him immortal. But despite his resurrection, he was sent away to seclude himself in a cave and took no more parts in the Trojan War. In-game, however, he will start out in the northern land of Thrace, right next to the namesake river of his father, Strymon, where he will first have to unite the Thracian factions before launching attacks on northern Greece. And due to the Iliad's depiction of his golden armor and fine horses, you'll find Rhesus equipped with one of the most powerful and ornate armor and chariots in the game. And now that we have introduced the northern Threshing King in Rhesus, we can turn our eyes south to the sun-drenched land of Ethiopia, which at this time was a vassal to the great pharaoh of Egypt. And it is here that we will find our second epic hero in Memnon, who is the king of Ethiopia. But more importantly, he's also the mythical son of Tithonus and Eos. Now his mother Eos is a Greek titaness and the goddess of dawn, while his father Tithonus is a Trojan prince and the brother of the current king Priam of Troy, which makes Memnon the nephew of Priam and a cousin to both Hector and Paris, which is why he will be marching north to Troy with a massive Ethiopian army that was described as too big to count in the Iliad in order to support his kins. Now in the stories, Memnon was a favorite of Zeus and a strong warrior outfitted with the armor casted by Hephaestus himself. And once he arrived in Troy, Memnon would do battle against Nestor's son, who would fall to him in battle. Saddened by the death of his son, Nestor tried to avenge his death by challenging Memnon, but Memnon turned him down out of respect to his old age. So instead, Nectar pleaded with Achilles to fight in his stead, and thus the two strongest warriors on both sides of the conflict clashed on the shores of Troy, with Zeus looking on. And since Zeus favored both of them equally, he simply blessed them both with unlimited stamina and increased their size to show off their demigod status to the onlooking army. Now, in the end, Achilles, who also happens to be wearing another armor made by Hephaestus, came out ahead as he would plunge his sword into Memnon's heart. And as Memnon fell, most of his army fled in terror as their great leader was struck down, and those who stayed behind to fight for his body were turned into birds called Memnites by Zeus, so they may protect his tomb, as the gods would collect Memnon's body and every drop of blood spilled from him to commemorate him. Now, to represent him in game, Memnon will actually be leading an expeditionary force in the form of a horde faction, sharing many of the horde mechanics first established by Penthesilea. But in addition to being a horde faction, Memnon will also have many new mechanics unique to himself, including the ability to draw his troops from faraway lands stretching from Ethiopia and Egypt to land as far away as the legendary city of Susa on the mouth of the Mesopotamia. And now that you got a little background on these two new epic heroes and factions, who are you looking forward to playing as? And more importantly, let me know in the comment section below who you want me to play as in a new historical mode Total War Troy campaign featuring one of these two new factions when the DLC launches on December 14th. In the meantime, stay tuned on the channel for more news and updates for this DLC, as the pre-release embargo will lift on December 7th, which is when I can share more info about this DLC. So until then, bye!